usual, working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch. If you can keep it going for as long as you can. Usual props, the ball, the band, block, cushions, especially if you're lying down, to make it comfortable as you're lying down on the mat. Same as usual. Whether you're seated or lying down, see if you can try and find a good alignment that allows you to breathe from the belly. So if I'm seated, the tendency is to kind of like slouch and compress down. See if you can try and pick yourself up and then create space. This is making sure that the diaphragm has got space to move up and down and create that nice relaxed belly breath. The shoulders are staying relaxed, the rib cage, the chest are nice and loose. If I'm laying down, I'm just going to take advantage of the floor. I'm going to let go with my shoulders, let go with the hips, allow the head to relax onto the mat. And then aware that the breath is happening down here, not up here, I'm going to start running a quick scan over the body. So if I'm seated, I'm just going to check the pressure under the seat bones. Is the pressure even right and left side? Is one shoulder maybe higher than the other? Am I slightly leaning? Am I slightly twisting? If I'm laying down, is the pressure at the back of my shoulders, at the back of the hips the same? Is the position of my arms the same? Is the head in the middle? Is the pressure into the center of the head or slightly off to one side? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how you feel to begin with. So is there any tension, any discomfort, any tightness anywhere within the body? Once that I feel a little bit more settled within the position and with the breath, I'm just going to start focusing on the shoulders. I'm going to start off with little circles. So I'm just going to start circling the shoulders around, starting with small movement, and then gradually see if I can make those circles bigger. There will be all sorts of scrunching noises as the shoulders go round. As far as there is no pain with the noise, I'm going to keep it going nice and big. If there is pain, I'm going to ease off on the size of the movement, but still encouraging some. If I'm seated, I've got plenty of space, so there is nothing restricting me. There is no wall behind me. There is no floor behind me. So I can really go for a big movement. If I'm lying down, obviously I'm restricted as I'm resting on the back, laying down on the back, but I can still roll the shoulders around. I can still make the movement big enough. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to relax through the shoulders. And then this time, I'm just going to focus on elevation, depression. So I'm going to pull my shoulders up to my ears, and then I'm going to press them down and away. Pull them up to my ears, press them down and away. So imagine if you're lying down, imagine your arms are to be like a little cards that are coming up towards the head and then sliding down towards your feet. Moving up towards your head and then sliding down towards the feet. So keeping that sliding movement going. If you're seated, exactly the same. Think of a little elevator. I'm just going to pull the elevator up and then I'm going to let it go back down. I'm going to pull it up and let it slide back down. Just make sure that if you're seated, when the elevator slides down, you're not collapsing the all of the building. So I'm going to keep myself nice and tall and just to see if I can move the shoulder girdle up and down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulders and the upper back. And then I'm going to change the movement slightly. Instead of working through the shoulder girdle, this time I want to start movement into the shoulder joint. I'm going to start raising the right arm up to the front. I'm going to lift it as high up as it feels comfortable. And then I'm just going to take it back. And I'm going to do the same thing with the left. And then I'm going to take it back. So a nice easy movement. If there is any issue with the shoulder, you might find that you go past a certain point and it starts becoming stiff or it starts becoming painful. I'm not going to force it. I want the movement to stay loose, to stay relaxed. If you're seated, check that you're lifting the arm, not the shoulder. So the shoulder is not suddenly strapped to my head, strapped to my ear. The shoulder is keeping down. It's just the arm that is going up. If you're lying down, taking advantage of the mat, I'm just going to let gravity do the work. I'm keeping the space between the shoulder and the head, and then I'm just going to let the arm go as far back as it works for the right and as it works for the left shoulder. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, adjusting the shoulders position. I've got a little bit more movement in flexion. What I want now is a little bit more movement into lateral flexion. So I'm going to turn the palm of the hand to face out slightly and then scooping the right arm out to the side. I'm going to bring it out and around into a big swing. Then I'm going to take it back in reverse, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So nice big swing around. Come back, and then swing it around the other way. So same as you did for that front raise, make sure that it doesn't feel as at the end of the lift, my shoulder is suddenly strapped to my head. So the shoulder is keeping down. I'm going to allow the arm to drop into the shoulder socket. So it stays loose, it stays soft. And then same as for the front raise, I feel that if I lift sideways, it really catches on the shoulders, really feels painful for the shoulder. So I'm not going to let the arm go that far to the side. I'm going to let the swing come slightly to the front, making the movement a little bit shallower. I'm still able to get into the arc, but without creating that pain in the shoulder. Same if you're lying down. I'm going to try and see if I can keep the arm as close to the floor as possible as I swing it out, and then as I come back. If there is pain, then the arm will lift slightly to make sure that there is no pain in the shoulder as the arm is moving. And then since one shoulder can be very different from the other, I feel that my right shoulder is perfect, my left shoulder is sore. My right arm will be going into a nice big movement. My left arm will go for a slightly shallower, smaller one. 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, the same as we did at the beginning. I'm going to go back into the shoulder circles. See if I can loosen up through the shoulders, relaxing a little bit more into the upper body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to shrug the shoulders up to the head, and then I'm just going to let them drop. Pick them up, let them drop. One more time, lift them up, let them drop. Keep them there, nice and heavy, nice and loose. I'm going to grab hold of the ball. If I don't have the ball, I can use the pillow, or I can roll up a towel, just as something that is going to offer a soft bulk. And then I'm going to set the ball between the right side of the rib cage and the right arm. So it's under the right armpit, not wedged into the armpit, but it's just there. Then from there, I'm going to bend the elbow, and then turning the palm to face up, I'm pointing the finger straight ahead. So not across, but straight ahead of me. Then from here, I'm going to go for a little retraction. So think of the shoulder. I don't want the shoulder to start curling in. I want to keep the shoulder and the chest open. So I'm going to retract the shoulder slightly, and then I'm going to squeeze gently into the ball. If I'm doing it correctly, my fingers and my arms should still pointing straight ahead. They shouldn't be pointing across. Then I'm going to release, and then again, I'm going to retract the shoulder slightly, and then squeeze gently into the ball and release. So the shoulder goes back a little, and then the arm presses gently into the ball. You feel the tension. The tension should be right at the back of the shoulder where your lats are. So it starts from the back of the arm, comes down the back of the shoulder towards the back of the rib cage. So see if I can feel those muscles working to create that little clamping tension into the band. 3. So whether, again, I'm seated or standing, the tension is exactly the same. So I'm going to press the shoulder slightly down into the mat and then squeeze the ball. My fingers should be pointing straight ahead of me. 3. 2. And then last one, I'm going to hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. I'm going to switch the ball underneath the other side, underneath the other arm. So same starting position as before. I'm going to turn the palm to face up, the arm and the fingers pointing straight forward, straight ahead. I'm going to retract the shoulder slightly, and then I'm going to squeeze into the ball. Then release, retract the shoulder, and then squeeze into the ball. So just a little pull back from the shoulder and a little squeeze down into the ball without exaggerating the tension. But same as on the other side, make sure that you can feel the tension behind the shoulder, at the back of the shoulder. So I can feel that clumping tension that is pulling down on the arm. 5, 4. So the neck should be feeling nice and loose. 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little bit of a rock, a little bit more connection. I'm going to change the effort to see if I can start moving into the upper back again. This time I'm going to go for a little rotation first. So keeping the chest nice and open, I'm going to rest the hands into the middle of the chest. I can rest them that way, or like a prayer position that way, whatever feels more comfortable. Just make sure that the chest doesn't close. So I'm staying nice and open, nice and lifted. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in the middle. And then as I breathe out, I'm going to start rotating to one side. Easing back to the center. And then I'm going to rotate the other way. See if you can be aware. So seated, imagine your spine to be like a pole. The pole is staying planted on the chair. I'm just turning around the pole. I'm not twisting the pole out of shape. If you're lying down, I'm going to cross the arms a little bit more so that the elbow doesn't stop me, doesn't prevent me from turning. And then I'm just going to roll over onto one shoulder, ease back to the center, roll over onto the other side. So turning from one, over to the other, one, over to the other side. 8, 7, 6, 5. Turning the head as well as the shoulders, especially if you're lying down, so you don't feel tension building into the side of the neck. 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, adjusting the shoulders, relaxing the arms. It's a little bit more movement into the upper back. What I want is now that I've got the back moving, I'm going to add the arm. So see if I can open up the movement into the back. At the same time, making sure that my back is moving, is not just my arm reaching. I'm going to reach the right arm straight ahead of me. And then imagine to be turning to put your seatbelt on. So I'm going to turn to the left. I'm going to reach around for my seatbelt. And then I'm going to ease back. And I'm going to reach around the other way. And then I'm going to ease back. If I'm laying down, obviously the floor is going to get in the way, but I can still rotate. And as the arm reaches across the back for the seatbelt, I should be able to feel a nice stretch behind the shoulders. If I'm seated, there is nothing preventing me from turning other than my body restrictions. So I can reach around to try and get to the seatbelt and then come back. Then I'm going to try and reach around the other way and come back. And then same as usual, I know that when I reach around to the left, it feels easier. When I go to the right, it feels tighter. So I'm just going to pay a little bit more attention to that direction and then see if I can loosen myself up a little bit more in that direction, that way. 6, 5, making sure that I'm not leaning backwards or leaning sideways. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms. And then I'm going to work the opposite way. So this time, instead of closing the shoulder, I'm trying to open it as I reach. So if you're seated, I don't change the position. So I'm starting from the same starting position. If you're lying down, you're going to roll over onto the side. So setting yourself into side line for opening and closing doors. So I'm just going to reach the bottom arm straight forward, straight ahead to make sure that my shoulder is on the floor. The head can be resting on the floor or on the pillow to make sure that the neck is comfortable. I'm going to tuck the knees in. They're directly in front of the hips. Legs are together. I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to open the arm out to the side, turning the rib cage and then spreading the arms out nice and wide to see if I can get a nice stretch across the front of the chest this time. Then easing the arm all the way back to the front and then starting again. If I'm seated, exactly the same. I'm going to repeat on the same side. I'm just going to turn the right palm to face up, and then I'm going to turn and open, and then ease my way back. Turn and open, ease my way back. As you're turning to the side, especially if you're seated, but also if you're down on the mat, check the position of the arm that you're taking back. as very often we get carried away with how far can I send the arm, and the shoulders start kind of like twisting. If the shoulder twists, my body twists with the shoulder as well. So see if you can think of a nice open movement. So the arm is going back, my body is still upright, the shoulder is opening, the head is lifting, there is no twisting, there is no pressure into that shoulder. Then I'm going to ease back, and then I'm going to open my way out again. So it's not how far the arm goes, is can I turn my body and then just take the arm with me? And then I'm just going to return my way back. 3, opening and closing that door. 2, last one. And release and down, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. And then I'm going to try exactly the same thing with the left side. So if you're lying down, turning to face the other way, or switching yourself head to toes, and then staying to the other side. So I'm going to turn the palm to face up, and then scooping that left arm around. I'm going to turn in that direction, follow the arm. Easing my way back, and then trying again. Same as on the other side. Pause slightly when you get to the open position. Am I still sitting tall? Is my neck still long? Is the shoulder still down? Am I twisting it? And I try and find a better position for the arm. And then returning, and then opening my way out again. Same as if I'm lying down, making sure that the bottom shoulder is flat against the floor so you're not crashing it down. I'm going to turn and open, and then close back. Turn and open, and then close back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. If I'm lying down, I'm going to roll over onto my back again, resetting my neutral. And then now that the upper back feels a little bit looser, instead of rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So if you're laying down, you might want to support the head. So I'm going to support the head with my left hand. And then with the right arm, I'm going to reach down the side as if I was trying to touch the side of the foot. Then I'm going to ease back, switch the arms. And then with the left, I'm going to reach down the left side. Switch the arms, and then reaching down the other way. So there's a little tension into the side of the belly that is allowing a little flexion side to side. If I'm seated, I'm going to make sure that I'm sitting tall. So imagine a wall behind you. I don't want to pull away from the wall. I want to try and stay nice and close to the wall, and just sliding down one side, easing my way back, and then sliding down the other way, making sure that the seat bones stay planted on the block, on the chair. I'm not lifting them away. So the movement is coming from my back. Moving from one over to the other side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And easing back. Again, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, readjusting the back if I need to. And then moving down into the hips, into the legs. I'm going to get the ball and then place the ball cushion towel between the knees. I'm going to walk the feet nice and close together. If touching, good. If not quite touching, it doesn't matter, but they're nice and close. And then from there, I'm going to start to squeezing into the ball. Just a little squeeze. So on a scale 1 to 10, I'm trying to use a 5. So I'm going to press, release, press, release, press, release, press, release. So I'm going to maintain that pressure going on and off, releasing it slightly. See if you can think of the inner thighs tensing to create that pressure. And at the same time, see if you can focus on your pelvic floor. Think of your front passage. Men and women, no difference. I'm going to tighten up the front passage and then try to lift, to try to pull everything up towards the inside of the body. Not so hard that I feel my bum clenching, just to the pelvic floor. So there's a little squeeze, air release. A little squeeze, air release. And then same as usual, compare the tension between right and left leg. Do I feel the same tension? Does it feel different? If it does, I'm going to focus on the weaker side, see if I can build the tension on that side, see if I can improve that tension on that side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. I'm going to ease the tension, relax the legs. I'm going to stay with the adductors. I'm going to change the angle. So instead of keeping the feet together, this time I'm going to walk them out. If you're laying down, think of opening the feet to the size of your yoga mat, to the size of your mat, so they're quite wide apart. If I'm seated, I'm just going to open the feet enough to be able to see the feet slightly on the outside of the knees. And then I'm going to put the ball, the towel in the middle again. Because of the position of the leg, I'm going kind of like pigeon toe slightly. The knees are going to rotate in and squeeze. I'm going to follow that direction, making sure that there is no pressure on the side of the knee. I'm going to squeeze the legs together and then ease that squeeze. Squeeze them together and then ease the squeeze. And then same as on the other side or the other position. Do I feel difference between right and left side? In this position, if there is difference, you will notice that the ball tends to kind of like a roll between the knees. So see if I can try and create a nice even tension that allows me to squeeze the ball without letting it roll from side to side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Easing the tension of the ball, I'm going to relax it through the inner thighs, giving it a little stretch. If you're seated, I want to walk the feet out as far as you can, and then pushing the knees out at the same time. Think of a nice stretch that goes on the inside of the leg towards the knees. If I'm lying down, I'm going to keep the feet close together. And then just allowing the knees to flop out to the side. I'm just going to let gravity do the work. So I'm just going to let the legs relax. Just make sure that your lower back is flat against the floor. It's not going into hyperextension, so it's not arching away. And then I'm just going to let the legs settle into the stretch. If I want to make it a little bit heavier, then I'm going to place the hands onto the thighs, and then I'm just going to let the arms hang off the legs too. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then easing back, releasing the legs, relaxing the hips. And then I'm going to work on the side of the hip. So if you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side again, setting yourself into clam. So I'm just going to lay down on the side. The head is supported, the knees are bent, feet in line with the back of the hips. The side of the belly is active, the front of the belly is active. I'm going to press the heels of the feet together, and then I'm going to start turning and lifting the top leg up into clam. Just making sure that I'm not rolling the hips, I'm just lifting the leg. If you're seated, you need some resistance. If you're lying down, it doesn't matter. You're working against gravity, lifting the leg. If I seated, I need to push against something. So I'm going to use the band. I'm going to tie around the legs, tie around the thighs. I can put a little knot or a little bow in place to keep it there. I can hold it if I want to. And then I'm going to focus on my right leg. I'm going to push out with the right leg against the band. If you've got a strap, you're going to push into the strap. And then I'm going to ease that tension. So I want the knee to go out this time. And then control back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release and back. Relaxing the leg, giving the hip a little tap. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So again, if I'm seated, I'm just going to keep my right nice and still, and then I'm going to try and push out with the left. Then ease the tension, and then I'm going to push out again. So I can feel the side of the hip, the side of the bum working. If I'm lying down, I need to switch side, the same starting position. The feet are in line with the back of the hips. I'm going to keep my heels together and then get into that rotation. So turning the leg out and lifting it up. And then I'm just going to control back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. And release. Giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. If I'm lying down, I'm going to roll over onto the back again. If I'm seated, I'm going to free the legs. So I'm just going to undo the band, undo the strap, chuck it to the side. And then this time I'm going to stretch the side of the hip, the side of the leg. So if I'm seated, obviously I'm seated on the C-bender, so it's harder to get in the hip. So one way is to lift the right leg and then see if I can cross the leg over. So with the leg across, I'm already lengthening through. I can hook the left hand onto the knee and then I can just pull the leg across until I can feel a little bit more traction. If I find that I can't get the leg across the other side, it just won't go there, then I'm going to pull both legs in that direction. So I'm going to pull them both to the left, and then I'm just going to turn a little bit more to see if I can get a little bit more stretch into the hip. If I'm lying down, I'm going to lift the right leg towards me, left leg, I'm going to extend it away. With the left hand, I'm going to grab hold of that right leg and then pulling it across the body, making sure that the bum doesn't lift off the ground. So I'm stretching the hip, but not the back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease in the tension, releasing the leg, switching sides. So I'm going to pick up the left, hooking the right hand around the knee, and then gently pulling the leg across until I can feel the stretch. If I'm seated, crossing the leg if possible, or just pulling both legs over to the right this time, and then turning to the left to see if I can create a little bit more traction, a little bit more stretch. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Easing the legs back to the middle, finding your neutral again, sitting up nice and tall. And then this time focusing on the little up and down. So focus on your right leg. I'm going to imagine to be puppeting the legs. So imagine a string that goes from your right hand to the right knee, the left hand to the left knee. So I'm going to pull my right arm up. I want my right leg to follow that lift. Then easing them back. I'm going to pull my left hand up. I'm going to follow the lift with the leg. Same as usual. I might be able to just barely move the leg up and down. I might be able to lift it. It doesn't matter. Just to see if you can find the connection. To picture that string and then see if I can try and use the string to help me pull on the leg. And then use the string to help me pull on the other side. Releasing and then switching side again. If you're laying down, exactly the same. I'm going to pull with my right arm, see if I can get my right foot to lift off the ground, then easing it back down, and then pulling the left arm, see if I can get the left foot to lift. Coming back, and then lifting up again. Trying to control the movement on the way up as well as on the way down, making sure that the leg doesn't drop down too quickly or without control. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing through the hips, so releasing through the legs. And then I'm going to try one more time. So I might feel that the leg was lifting with no problem. I might find that it felt impossible to get it to lift off the floor. I'm going to switch my string. As sometimes if I switch the strings over, it works better. So imagine this time your right hand to be attached to your left leg and your left hand to be attached to your right. So this time as I pull with my right arm, it's my left leg that is going to follow me, and then back. As I pull with the left arm, is the right leg. And then easing it back. So noticing the difference, you might find that in this position, I can lift better, or in this position, I feel that suddenly that lift that was easy before is getting harder. I'm trying what I can. If the foot lifts off the ground, great. If it doesn't matter. I'm trying to do what I can with my right leg, and then I'm going to try to do what I can with my left leg. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down. Giving the legs a little walk, a little shake, making sure that the front of the leg, front of the thigh doesn't feel too stiff, doesn't feel too tight. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down, rolling over onto the side, slowly pushing yourself up into sitting. Find a comfortable position for the legs, is something that allows you to sit reasonably upright, even if I've got to lean against the wall or against the sofa to find my balance. Once that I'm up, I'm going to try and find my seat bones to see if I can plant the seat bones down onto the mat, down onto the floor, and then sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to send the chest forward. I'm going to open up the front of the belly. I'm going to lift it through the chest. I'm going to start looking forward. I'm going to try and look up. I'm going to try and look back as far as I can. Then I'm going to release and come forward, allowing the chin to drop down to the chest, the shoulders to come forward, the back to round and roll as far down as I feel safe, as I feel in control, and then back in reverse, uncurling my way back up, opening up the space at the front, so lifting through the chest, shoulders back. I'm going to look forward, look up, look back, and then release and coming forward again. Chin to the chest, the shoulders come forward, rolling your way down gradually, and then gradually coming back. Last time, as much space as I can. Chest to the ceiling, shoulders back, shoulders down, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then returning your way back to the front. One hand on the belly, one hand on the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap. Well done.